Well, as the title says, I'm going to fit a dashcam to the XFR today. So the dashcam I bought is one of these generic makes that you get on AliExpress, and that's really what it looks like. There's no name. Basically, any of these that you see are pretty much identical. The one that I bought was a dual lens, and the cable actually has one of these lighter sockets. So I'm going to plug it into the 12 volt socket in the armrest, because right now I don't have a hardwire kit for this, and I think those of you who have one of these facelift XFs know that it's actually kind of hard to hardwire a dashcam to these cars because of the fact that the fuses, all the fuses are live every single time you open the door. So there's actually no accessory fuse that you can actually use for when you turn the car on for it to switch on. It switches on every time you open the door, it'll turn on and start recording. So I might as well just have one of these. There's no point in hardwiring it to the car. This is the rear facing camera. Now this is a 720p camera. It's not as high resolution as the front camera. The front one is a 1080p, and I've already tested it. The video footage on the front camera is actually very, very good. This little thing here is a sticker for the bracket on the rear camera, but I'm probably going to use my own tape to stick it on the rear window. I'm going to get to the rear camera last. I'm first going to fit the front camera. This cable here is for your power, and this one is for the rear camera. So I just want to show you guys what I did on the windshield. So looking at this whole setup over here, unfortunately my car has some kind of sensor over here, and the sensor for the automatic high beam is actually sitting in here. So for that reason I couldn't buy one of these OEM style dash cams. Now because this camera is going to sit on this side of the windshield, I made my own decal and I stuck it on the windshield already, and that's basically to hide the fact that a camera is actually going to be stuck here. So the camera is actually going to sit round about there, so that I still have room to move my rear view mirror. I'll just hook it up to my phone via the app to check whether it is actually aligned and whether this thing is actually, you know, getting into the picture, because the way I had it and the way I figured it with this design that I did here for the decal, just a little bit of this blackout here will actually show through on the video when it's recording. If I had it any further back, then this entire black thing would get in the way on the right hand side of the picture. You'd lose quite a lot of video footage on the right hand side. So for that reason I made this fairly low down so it can sit down here and hopefully get a good picture of what's going on in front. I'm actually going to run the cable on the passenger side because this cable's not very long, and what I've done is I've actually already hooked it up here, and you'll see it's actually live right now, and I've run the cable down there and then I've tucked it underneath this trim over here, and it comes out at the end. But now that it comes out down here, I want it to run inside here behind the glove box, and then I want to pull it into this trim over here. I'm just going to pull this rubber away, the door rubber, and in order to get this thing off, I've taken the first clip off already. This is what these clips actually look like. They press in like that, and then you can release them. Now these may not come out very easily, and for that reason I'm using my trim tool to try and pry it out. I may need to just leverage it on this side as well as that side. There we go, that one's off. I'll just leave it clipped into the trim. There we go. Now I can actually get in there and get my cable behind this. So I'm just routing this cable behind this footwell light, behind its cable, and I'm going to make it fairly taut, and then I can get this cover back in its place. And I'm just going to plug this one back in there. So I actually want this thing off, but before I do that, I'm just going to pull the rubber away. So we just need to get this thing off. And then we can slide it out. So now that I have the space, I can actually run my cable up here. And before I do that, I need to take the 8-pillar trim off, because I need to get this cable behind the airbag and not in front of the airbag. So the first thing we've got to do is remove this airbag plug, and that, as you can see, just comes off with a trim tool like that. So this Torx bolt is actually a T30. And you know, it's weird. The X260, the later model, has a clip over there which is very flimsy, and this car is built so solid it has a Torx bolt holding it in, and I think that's absolutely amazing. It even has a built-in washer. Okay, we can slide this thing out of the way and get the cable behind the airbag so that it runs up here. And then tuck it into the head lining here. Now we can just put this back. So I accidentally broke the cable to the rear camera. It actually was pulling down on the corner of the A-pillar, so I yanked it, and well, this is what happened. It broke. So I'm going to have to order a new rear camera. The reason for that is because you can't just order a new cable, because not all cables work with different cameras. So I'm going to have to order a new camera with a new cable, and then I can complete this installation. So the dash cam is actually in. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like, and show you from the outside as well as the inside, and you can see how nice it looks with the blackout that I put on the windshield. And then while I'm at it, I'm actually just going to replace this door rubber, and I'll show you a little more about that in a second. So now I just want to show you guys the DVR app that I'm actually using. It's called WCVR Dual, and that's the only one that works with this dash cam. All the others actually don't work. Go to your Wi-Fi settings and you need to connect to it, and the password on this one was just 8 nines. So it's 9999999. Road cam and final cam and way cam, they don't work with this dash cam. I already checked, and you can see just a little bit of that blackout coming through, but that is not a problem to me. So this is the setup here, and that's what the dash cam actually looks like behind the blackout that I've actually put in. You can see the cables come out the back there. There are little extenders that you get that you can put on here, but they would have been too long for it to actually fit in here, so I couldn't put them on. But you know, sitting from this perspective over here, you don't really see that, so I'm not too concerned about that. And especially from the driver's angle, you're not really going to see that either. That's what it looks like behind the windshield. I'll probably do a review on the dash cam once I get the rear camera as well, so I'll show you guys how I actually installed the rear camera. So now I'm going to get to doing the door rubber. When I bought the car, I noticed that it was broken over here, and this is doing nothing right now to stop dust and stuff from getting in here. And also when I drive, you know, as the body of the car flexes, this squeaks quite a lot. So I'm going to take this door rubber off, and I got one from a salvage yard which was about half the price of the OEM one, and I was actually surprised by the price, because the price wasn't as much as I would have expected it to be. So I'm going to take this rubber off and get the other one on. Now, in order to get it off, we just need to remove this trim plate at the bottom over here, and the way that we do that is by lifting it. You can lift it with your hands. It's, you know, it doesn't have major clips holding it in. I think there are 5 clips that hold it in, and yeah, 5 clips, and I see one of the clips has come out with it and the others have stayed behind. They're here in the rail. That's fine, I'm just going to leave them there. It's not the end of the world. So let's get this rubber out. Now I'm taking note of the situation of this rubber. So here's the salvage one that I got. It's a little bit dirty, so I'm going to have to clean it up once I got it in the car. From what I can see, this was at the bottom section over here, and I'm just going to line it up here so that it lines up with this trim, and then I know it's actually going to sit nice and flush with the rest of the car. I'm now lining it up with the rest of the aperture, but so far so good. I'll just get this piece in over here. Just a matter of tipping that in, and there we go. So as you can see here, we've got a nice, you know, shut line now. We can have a nice shut line for the door, and you can see it is a bit dirty. I just need to get these cobwebs off. Strangely, this thing was lying in the sun because the door on the car that was salvaged was gone. The door was missing. This rubber was actually in the sun, and I don't know how long it's been lying there, but it's in very, very good condition. And I'm not going to put anything on it. I'm just going to clean it with water and a cloth, because I don't want anything to be squeaking on this thing. You don't want to put silicone or anything like that on this rubber, because it will start squeaking, and I think somebody did that with the old one, and that's why it was squeaking all the time, as well as being damaged. But yeah, now I can throw this one away, and I have a nice new door rubber. I'm sorry that I couldn't show you guys the full dash cam install, but I will do a follow-up video as soon as I get the rear camera. The rear camera will probably be in a week. It's coming with DHL, so when I get there I will fit it, and I'll show you guys how I run it through from the top round. You know, I'm going to have to take this sill off that side as well as the rear one, and then take off the A-pillar. The other thing that I actually forgot to tell you guys, when I took off the A-pillar, I lost the bolt. The bolt fell down the A-pillar when I was trying to, you know, screw it back on, and I couldn't find it. So I had to take the entire kick panel on the passenger side off in its entirety, and that meant undoing the bonnet release catch as well, and I could not find it. I stuck a flashlight in there, I could not find it. I spent about an hour looking for it, and then I quickly drove the car out, and I heard it falling down somewhere, so I think it has now fallen down into where I was looking. So when I do the rear camera, I'm going to show you guys how I take all that apart as well, just in case anyone out there is wanting to know how to take all that stuff apart. And I'm going to have to pull the actual car's carpet away, And I must just quickly mention as well that when I did pull that carpet away, there was so much soundproofing and sound deadening in this car. It's amazing. It really is amazing compared to the new X260, which only has one level of sound deadening. This car actually has sound deadening behind the carpet, and it has sound deadening against the firewall. And my other X260 didn't have that, which because I actually did pull the carpet away to clean broken pieces of bottle from the previous owner. And I was very surprised by the bolts and the clips, and everything on this car is just top-notch quality compared to the cheap plastic clips that they used on the X260. So if there's anything to go by, it's probably why I prefer the X250, not just for its looks, but also the actual materials used in the build quality, much better. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.